Welcome to some more killer tactics, and this tactic I've got here is an amazing puzzle that I would say sums up the 1960s. I was kind of looking for a 60s puzzle. Can we do that with chess? Yes, we bloody well can. This is a funny puzzle. It has a sense of humour. It's really trippy. It's out there in blue blah blah wah 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 land, wherever that is. Have a go at solving it. Not a normal position, but here it is. White to play and win. I'm going to take you through it so you can just sit back and relax and watch it. But if you do want to try solving this amazing study position, one of the most amazing positions and one of the most amazing studies I've ever come across, pause the video now. Okay, so basically this was made in 1968. You can see a bit of information above, and just sit back and enjoy this. It's white to play. Should have said that before, so you can pause again if you want another way of doing this. Black is nearly getting ready to queen a pawn there. If black can queen the pawn here, black is probably winning the game. So at some point we're going to have to play knight b3 at some point to defend against that pawn. But first of all, we play c7 check. Black's best move is to move the king to b7. If the king goes to c8, well, you have to work out what the best solution here. I'll quickly show you. It's taking the rook, getting a queen with check. And after king takes here, we now have to stop black from queening. So knight b3. Black tries a check with the idea of playing the knight there to d4, trying to distract the white knight away from its defense of a1. Knight to a1, the only move. And now knight c2. And here, white has a very clever idea. Again, pause the video here if you want to have a go at solving this. This is a little bit easier. The first move being a check. And you should now be able to work out that white will queen one of these pawns before black can. Because it takes black one move to take the knight, 2 moves to move the knight away, and 3 moves to queen. And in the meantime, white can do something along the following lines. King c7, h6, and we can see in this complicated line, and it is bloody complicated, that white queens first. But let's go back. After the first move, c7 check, black's best response is king b7. And now we have to take on d8 and get a knight. So now we have 3 knights on the board with a check. The king now takes the pawn, and yet again we have to play knight b3, stopping the a pawn from turning into a queen. So knight b3 it is. And now black tries the same trick. Otherwise, white is just 2 pieces up. Black has to try and queen the a-pawn by distracting this knight on b3 away. Knight f3 check. And the king only has 1 square to go to. If it goes to f1, that's a big blunder. Can you see how black can now win this position? Instead, king to d1 covers the d2 square. Bit of a clue there. Black has to try knight to d4, and now it gets trippy. You know, this is just a very amusing puzzle. You have to go knight a1, covering the pawn. Black has to distract that knight away, so he has to try knight c2. And now white plays knight takes e6. And the whole point of this next sequence of moves is that white wants to queen on h1, well, should I say h8, that square there, before black queens on a1. So, for example, knight takes a1 is pretty much forced, and now knight to d4. Knight to c2, only way that black can play. And again, black is threatening to queen that pawn. There's only one way to stop that. If you take the knight, you lose, because black takes the knight with check, and black will queen the pawn next move. So after knight c2, you have to play knight to b3 again. In this situation, if black ever queens the pawn, we get rid of that dangerous pawn. So the best move is knight to d4. Yet again, a bit of dancing going on. If we take the knight, black will queen the pawn. So we have to go knight to a1. Knight to c2. So is this going to be a draw? Well, if white plays knight to b3, the position is now a draw. No, white can win by playing knight to f5. And this idea gains a very important tempo because now there's nothing in the way of the h-pawn. Knight takes a1. Knight to d4. Knight to c2. You get the idea now. Knight to b3. knight to d4, knight to a1. Oh, come on, this is as trippy as hell. Knight to c2, and now the point of this beautiful, beautiful puzzle. This h-pawn doesn't have a knight in the way, so h6, let's say knight takes a1, h7, let's say black has to move that knight, it doesn't matter where, knight c2, queen, and when black queens, white can take that one off and now play g5, and there's nothing that black can do to stop white from queening the g-pawn and winning the game. Oh my words, killer tactics that is. I have to say thank you and kapow to Twitter, and Stefan Nielsen first posted this, and you can see Tarjei of Norway said that puzzle made him laugh. That's where I saw it from. An amazing puzzle, simply astonishing how white gives up 3 knights all on the a1 square in order to win. That is a puzzle for the 60s, from the 60s, and you better check yourself before you wreck yourself with a puzzle like that, because where is your mind? Beautiful stuff. I'll be back again soon. Thank you. Goodbye for now.